And now it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, Corey Sandin, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray with Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and we're in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup, right here next to the San Diego landings in Point Loma. We have a great show lined up for today. Scott Sherman from Snapp Insurance is here. We're going to be having some fun talking insurance and talking fishing with Scott. So you stay tuned. This is Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090. Your San Diego County Ford dealer knows that vehicles are not one size fits all, and they have a variety to choose from to suit your individual wants and needs. Looking for a truck to handle both work and play? The legendary F-150 has you covered with its military-grade aluminum alloy body and high-strength steel frame and smart technology, like the available Pro Trailer Backup Assist to help you back up your boat with the turn of a dial. Or do you need a vehicle that's ready for your next adventure? The Ford Ranger is standing by, so grab your gear and let's go. This adventure-ready truck has an available terrain management system that has 4 selectable drive modes depending on what terrain you're on for optimum performance. Is an SUV more your speed? No problem. Your San Diego County Ford dealers have those too. The 2020 Ford Explorer has been completely redesigned inside and out and has available third-row power-fold seats to easily accommodate more passengers or cargo and available twin-panel moonroof to let the outdoors in. Visit buyfordnow.com to learn more or visit your nearest San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
You've heard all about it. You know the anglers catching fish have it, so what's holding you back? It's a fact. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. You can get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Martin Island, 365 days a year. FishDope.com is for everyone, whether you have your own boat, fish on your friend's boat, or a sport boat. FishDope.com has online planning tools, moon phase, tides, hot bite icons, and more. So bottom line is, if you don't have FishDope.com, well, you're probably missing a lot of bites. Membership costs less than $50 of gas, and that's for the entire year. That's right, 1 year. What a bargain. Plus, use the special code to save $20 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel.
There are plenty of boat slips and marinas in San Diego, but there's only one Kona Kai. It's not just a place to park your boat. It's a way of life here in America's finest city. The Kona Kai Resort Spa and Marina has multiple swimming pools and a private beach, waterfront restaurants, and award-winning spa, most of which is included for marina tenants. Check ResortKonakai.com for more information. The Kona Kai Resort, much more than just a place to park your boat.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Going to be a great show today, buddy.
Yeah, indeed. Scott Sherman, Snapp Insurance. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. How are you all doing?
What's up, Scott?
Good, good. How's life after politics?
Wonderful.
Yeah, you enjoying yourself?
Absolutely.
Glad to be out of that mess?
I am.
Yeah,
It's a weird world where people's handshake doesn't mean much, and now I'm back in the real world with business, and handshake is everything. So it's back to doing what I used to do for 27 years.
And you're getting a lot more fishing time in.
Yeah, just a couple of days.
Yeah, here and there, yeah.
Just
of course, you run your 25 Parker that you got from Kevin at West Coast Marine. You love that boat?
Love that boat, man. That thing is just, I couldn't have designed a boat better for that size if I wanted to. I mean, the platform is good. It's only 25 foot, but it fishes like it's a 30 because it's so wide. You can put 4 guys in the back of that thing who know what they're doing, and you can fish all day without tangling up.
And you have the right power options on that thing too, right?
Well, I have to thank Ricky for that because it came with dual 150s. And I was talking to Ricky about maybe upgrading the motor, and Ricky said, well, you know, I've never been on the water and I've had somebody look at me and say, gee, I wish we had less power.
Yeah, that's true.
So I made the decision to upgrade to dual 200s on it, and it's great. It gets about 1.6, 1.7 miles to the gallon.
Unbelievable.
Speed. Yeah, so
that's
really
that
nice.
Inline 4.
Yeah.
The
200 Yamaha.
200, so 400 horsepower. They must scoot.
I've never really pushed it up there, but I mean it runs real comfortable at about 25 miles an hour.
That's the beauty of having extra power like Scott does, is your engine just has to work, it has to work 25% less than if you're just not pushing it as hard. You extend your engine life, and it's there if you need it. And then if you're going offshore and fully loaded with fuel and ice and all that stuff, you got extra in reserve.
Yeah, well, I tell you, we went out to the Tanner and the Cortez this year in it.
Really?
Which is 95.
That's a long, yeah.
That's a 95
haul.
mile an hour haul. And we did both of those banks, a little bit of trolling around and kiting and stuff in between, and came all the way back to San Diego, and we still had about a quarter tank left.
Unbelievable.
That's awesome, man.
Now, I did empty the bait tank and stuff on the
Sure.
way back, and we were going down swell, and it was a real nice day, but still.
But think about that. That's a lot.
Were you a little nervous coming back?
I would have stayed longer if I wasn't so nervous about making it back.
It's a little.
Yeah, but when I saw the fuel
Shows
we
you the
had-
capability of that boat.
So now I know how long I can stay and where the fuel
Yeah.
needs to be before we start turning around, that kind of thing.
Confidence in your machinery.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's good. So what about, dual applications on motors are great. I mean, more power, more stability in the boat, everything. Maneuverability, everything about it is just a better package.
Yeah.
What about when you insure that boat?
Make sure you've got the coverage for the motor. It's both too. Everything's doubled, and you got to remember that when maintenance time comes too. Everything's doubled.
Yeah.
But just make sure that you've got the proper amount of property coverage on it, and you're good to go. And you just include that with the hull, the motor, everything else. And there's so many other little components that you need to make sure are insured properly on the boat.
So what does Scott Sherman have on his boat, insurance-wise?
I've got a full boat policy, and we've got an umbrella over the top of that with liability. Believe it's with Allied, I think. Nationwide, same thing. And packaged with the house, so I get the extra discounts there. I mean, we get 25% off on the homeowner's insurance because we packaged the auto and the boat and everything else.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
So you said you have an umbrella on the boat, too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a personal umbrella. It covers everything, but it also covers over the boat just to make sure you've got that extra layer of liability. So it's home, auto, boat.
Covers everything.
I like
the off-road vehicles, that kind of thing.
I liked when you hesitated and you had to think about who the carrier was of it, and only because that's what you guys do is, your insurance isn't, point A or point B. It's you go through and figure out what the best price and the best coverage is for each individual scenario, right. And where yours was nationwide and Pete's might be something that might, you guys, you're not bound to any one thing. You're shopping for the best deal for the customer. Right. And the best deal might be the best price, or it might be the best coverage, or oftentimes it's a combo of the two.
Yeah, and that changes.
I'm sure.
One year, company A is really good, and then they change a couple of things, or next year, company B wants to be more competitive, so they drop their premiums. And that's what we get to do, is we get to shop around. It's not like our Farmers or State Farm or an Allstate, because they have one market and one product, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We have...
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, we have...
Paying through the nose for many years.
Until you look and realize there's a lot of options out there, and those options change. And since we have most of those markets available to us, we look at it on a regular basis and say, okay, this change in the industry is happening. It's better we maybe move so-and-so's boat over to this market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
So what is it when somebody's shopping for boat insurance? What is it that you advise them on?
Well, locally, make sure you have coverage in Mexican waters.
Like how far?
It depends on the boat.
Yeah.
And where your range is. Most of the range we have here in California, most of the boats and most of the coverage in Mexico, the first line of no more coverage is about Punta Banda.
Okay.
So
that's right below Ensenada.
Which is right below Ensenada. Sometimes it's Rio Santo Tomas, which is just below that. But, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing.
Which in a lot of smaller to mid-sized boat applications is probably farther than most people are going. But that's not the distance that everybody goes. And if you have a boat that is a little bigger and has a little more range, that's a great thing to know, that you could get your down self just a little bit farther and realize all of a sudden you don't have coverage.
Right. And there are different lines that most companies have. One's Punta Banda, and then it gets down to, I think, the Guerrero Negro area, and then it's all the way down to Cabo and up inside from there. But it depends on the carrier because they don't offer the same thing.
And then how far offshore?
Usually most of those, it depends on the company you're being placed with, but you can usually get it to about 100 miles.
100 miles. What if you want to go further than Punta Banda? Are there additional coverage you can add to your boat?
If you're with the right company, you can add. Some just don't offer it past that point. So that's some of the questions that you ask up front. It's like, are you ever going to go past this point? Now, if it's somebody like me in a 25 Parker, probably not. That's probably where you want to be.
Yeah.
But if you're in a 52 Rivy, and you're going to go someplace,
you want to go
that might be the reason between Carrier A and Carrier B.
And that might be the reason, exactly.
And maybe they're a little more expensive, but if you're going to be down that far and not be covered, then that expense is totally worth incurring.
Right, exactly. And there are some that will cover all of Baja, but then their exclusions offshore are much closer to shore.
Oh, okay.
Like 25 miles.
Oh, wow.
No kidding.
Yeah.
See, every time Scott comes on, there's so many of those things. You're like, I would have never thought that. I would have never thought to ask that or think about that.
So if you have a boat and you're taking it down the coast of Baja, you have to really read that policy and find out if indeed it's going to cover you for where you're going to go.
Or at least ask those questions up front. If you're in there and an agent doesn't ask you, you should ask, hey, look, I'm planning on going to La Paz. I got to sail around the point and come back up into La Paz. I need extra amount of coverage, and make sure that they're going to know it. Even if it's one trip a year.
Yeah,
sure.
Are there certain companies that cover that type of insurance that you work with on a regular basis?
Yeah, and different companies, we know where those lines are, we know where those exclusions are, where they do and don't cover. So once we get that information, we place you with the right place.
Yeah, all right. So what about your you were talking about packaging, packaging homeowners and boats and everything like that.
Right.
Those give you multiple discounts, and certain carriers offer that kind of thing?
Yeah, a lot of times it's up to 25%. So, I mean, it can be substantial if you put all those things together.
Auto, too?
Yeah, home, auto, boat, off-road equipment, all those things, that's what they call personal lines, which is, the everyday stuff, not a commercial operation.
Yeah.
And that's what we do with ours, is you have the home, the auto, the boat, all of that packaged together, and you get as many discounts as you can.
Now, you're also an off-road enthusiast. Do you have to have a separate policy for your dune buggy?
Yeah, you get a coverage or endorsement, basically, that will add those to the policy.
Okay.
To your homeowner's policy.
To your homeowner's policy, not your auto policy.
Right, because the liability usually goes with the home.
Okay. And coverage on the vehicle and all that stuff too.
And same thing with those. Is it just a liability coverage? Because as you know, it's so easy to wrap up. Just like a boat. You can
$25,000-$30,000.
Yeah, you can go out there in a $3,000 aluminum rig, or you can have a $100,000 off-road car, and everything in between.
Right, and you get that property coverage included also.
Okay.
You get it endorsed on there, so if you crash it and it's a total loss, you can actually have coverage for it.
Yeah.
Now, what you pay for it sometimes are totally different because it's an off-road vehicle that is, that's what it does. It puts itself in an environment where it's liable to take damage.
Sure.
So finding people who will do that sometimes comes with a price.
Yeah. Now let's talk about fishing. You've been fishing, doing a lot of. You've wrapped up the lobster season well.
Yeah, lobster season. The end of the season was really well. I had 3 guys on the boat, and we almost came away with limits after our second set. So
nice.
It was a pretty nice night. But a lot of people were out. It was obvious because they hadn't been there for a while. It'd been pretty quiet on the bay.
Yeah.
But that last night there were a lot of people out. But it was they're moving around and crawling. It's mating season.
Yeah.
And we threw back 4 females that were already pasted. And
wow.
That make sure we keep the resource going.
Yes, good for you. Yeah. That's awesome. And then cod fishing's been good.
The shallow water cod fishing in Mexico during the closure was amazing. Yeah. It was just amazing. We found a couple of spots.
Like how shallow?
We were doing really well on lingcod in 95 feet.
Wow.
Get out of here. That's shallow.
Yeah. And even ledge I was fishing was 95 down to about 150, and we were even getting nice, decent size reds at the bottom of the ledge.
That's great.
But it was weird. I went back, probably fished it for 4 weeks, and went back the 5th week, and they were just gone.
Yeah, they move.
Yeah, they don't stay on the same spot all the time.
No.
And the funny part about it is I thought we had coming back, we metered some of these spots, so I thought we'd found all these great new spots. And I went down there the last time, and there was a commercial Mexican ponga sitting on every one of those spots.
Wow.
Thought I'd found some new spot out there, but it wasn't just new to me.
Yeah. There's plenty of spots. You just have to look around, right? What's your technique for finding the right spot?
Mostly it's a lot of surveillance and paying attention to the meter in between places. I mean, so many times you find a good spot when you're saying, okay, we're going to leave this spot and cruise back to the islands and fish that. And as you're going along, you find you see something on the meter, you turn back around and look at it, and a lot of times you can find them. I mean, that's how we found that one spot that was what I affectionately call Lingville now, just because there were so many big lingcod on it.
Nice.
Good electronics and not going too fast is like the secret to just finding good bottom.
Finding the spot. Yeah. And then what looks good to you on the meter?
Good drop-offs, pinnacles, something that's rocky and jagged and it has some good moves. I mean, most of our good rock cod fishing this year was on the drop-off every time. It wasn't on the top of the pinnacle.
Where it goes down.
Right. Usually it'll come up, you'll get a flat, and then all of a sudden it'll drop. And if you find a good drop and see some meter marks on it, drop away. I mean, a lot of times we found them, we'd pull over a spot, you'd turn around, you go back, and, hey, do you have an iron rigged up? You'd drop down a yo-yo and get hooked up that way, and that way you're on a spot.
What's your secret lingcod bait?
Iron.
Iron?
I'm telling you.
Straight iron, no bait on it?
No bait, no anything, just working, toss it out a ways.
Yo-yo iron?
Yeah.
Yeah? Toss
it out a ways, reel it up 20 feet real quick, drop it back down, reel it back up, and just kind of bounce it along, and like you would with a bass kind of rig,
That's
but
cool.
a bit differently. And they were all over it this season. No bait on it.
That's awesome.
Matter of fact, Wayne Cotto, he never fishing.
The man from CCA?
Yeah. We were fishing one time and said, you know what, we're just going to come back and not buy bait next time. We're just going to come back and do nothing but irons because that's what was working.
Yeah, but it always nice to have that fresh bait from Everingham.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I always like to put bait on there because you never know what you're going to run across.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's a bunch of leftover bait, I just freeze it and take it home for lobsters.
There you go.
And this time of the year, you never know when that yellow's going to pop up too, right?
Exactly right. I mean, we were down there last season, and a buddy of mine caught a yellowtail in 275 feet of water on a strip of rock cod.
Come on.
Nice.
That's
Can
cool.
happen.
But then the others followed it up as it was being pulled up from the bottom, and we had nothing to throw at it, no live bait. And I was kicking myself and saying I should have stopped and put bait in the tank.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
That's the case. Well, as you can hear, we have a great show lined up for today. A lot to talk about. We're talking fishing. We're talking insurance with Scott from Snapp Insurance and so much more.
Yeah, you want to talk about an extremely knowledgeable guy from kayaking to small boat fishing and lobsters and cods and mainly just the insurance thing, too. It's got such a wizard and a great wealth of knowledge, and we want to hear from you. If you want to be a part of Let's Talk Hookup this morning, we'd love to hear from you. 213-432-1090. That's how you reach us here on Let's Talk Hookup. Again, 213-432-1090 is our phone number, or you can shoot us a text. The text is only available via the Let's Talk Hookup app. It's a free download on any type of Apple or Android device. Just search Let's Talk Hookup, download. A great way to listen to the show, and it'll allow you to shoot a text. If you don't want to hang on or you don't want to hear yourself on the radio, just fire us off a text, and we'll be sure to read it on the air. And, man, for our lucky callers, we have such a killer prize today. One lucky caller at 213-432-1090 is going to get to go fishing on board a full-day trip, on board the Liberty. And, man, the boat is looking beautiful. I went down there in their maintenance period right now. Brand new decks, brand new giant bait tank.
Wow.
It looks so good. Those guys are really busting their butts, and so you're going to get a chance to go fishing on the newly redone Liberty with those brand new decks and brand new bait tank. Yeah, really, really killer prize at a Fisherman's Landing there. So again, if you want to get your chance to win that great trip, or better yet, your chance to talk to Scott, 213-432-1090. And when we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Lots of great info coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Southern California's sport fishing voice. This is Let's Talk Hookup on that Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090.
The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. Hi, this is Doug Kern. Our hardworking crew will make sure your fishing experience is one to remember. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet is second to none. Fisherman's Landing is a full-service operation offering great half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day open party trips on the spacious and comfortable Liberty. Since we introduced the full-day trips at Fisherman's Landing, the 85-foot Liberty has become a favorite among full-day operations with bunks for your comfort, huge bait capacity, and RSW fish holds to keep your catch fresh. Plus, Liberty has a big modern galley and 2 interior heads with showers. All our open party trips from half-day, full, or 1 to 3 day trips can easily be booked online at fishermanlanding.com or give us a call at 619-221-8500. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Henry David Thoreau said, "Many men go fishing all their lives without knowing that it's not the fish that they are after." Let me tell you, it's been one wild year, but one thing that still rings true is how nice it is to get out on the water. And at Fast Lane Kayaking, we have the tools to do it. Catch fish and social distance on the super stable and fully loaded fishing machine, the Hobie Pro Angler, now available with the Mirage Drive 360. Or explore our beautiful coastlines, bays, and lakes in comfort on a Hobie Compass or Passport. Or load up the car and hit the road with the inflatable Hobie i11S and kayak the stunning lakes in Eastern Sierra or wherever you can dream of. The Fast Lane team cannot begin to tell you how much we appreciate your business over the last 41 years. We are family owned and operated and always have been, and we're here to help you get on the water and spread the stoke. Check out our website at fastlanekayaking.com or stop by the shop in Dana Landing Marina, right on the water in Mission Bay. Let's get out and make some memories.
Hey, this is Rosie with Cedros Sport Fishing, and now also La Bacana Sport Fishing. From world-class yellowtail and calicos at Cedros to grouper and estuary fishing at La Bacana. Our Cedros Lodge is nestled on the cliff's edge, and the bungalows at La Bacana are within steps to the Pacific Ocean. Both trips depart through the CBX in San Diego, and the flights are direct. 2 awesome destinations with the same great service. What are you waiting for? Call me at 619-772-7570 or check us out at cedrosportfishing.com. Book soon. Trips are going fast.
Seasoned long-range fishermen know that the Red Rooster 3 is the finest fishing vessels in terms of technology, design, speed, comfort, and safety. This 105-foot sport fishing yacht meets every demand for comfort while delivering an unforgettable fishing vacation. Captain Andy Cates and crew are experienced, friendly, and sincere in their desire to help you have the trip of a lifetime. Book a trip on the Red Rooster 3 and you'll be back. Trips go fast. So check redrooster3.com or call Lee Palm Sport Fisheries at 619-224-3857.
Gotta love California in the summer. Just remember, COVID is still with us. So if you're going to the water, plan ahead, follow local public health guidelines, and make sure everyone wears a life jacket. Save the ones you love. A message from California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
Up, having a great time here this morning talking with Sherm. Already great info, man. Sherm's got the lobster thing really dialed in. We've been having a lot of fun already this morning. If you want to get through and join us on the fun, again, 213-432-1090. There's only one of those local lines still available. The phones are already packed up.
Don't forget to text us if you're on the Let's Talk Hookup, exclusively on the Let's Talk Hookup app. Text the show and have a question or comment. And interesting text that just came in. We'll start it off because it's kind of a, there's so much different things to insurance. Glenn from Faubrick says, do you provide insurance for high-performance boats that can run over 100 miles per hour, 26-foot cat hulls, dual motors, inboard, outboard, mainly like Lake Havasu, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, why don't you just pick the easy ones?
Yeah, that's a tough one,
That's
right?
a very difficult one. Don't know if we have a market. I could search for it, but I really don't know if we have something that goes that fast. That gets pretty darn special.
Are there, when you get down on specifics on insurance, does it say how fast the boat goes?
That's one of the first questions they ask on the application is what's the top speed of the boat? Because once you get over a certain speed, and it varies by company on what they'll tolerate, then it just becomes more and more difficult. And once you get to those drag-type boats that can do 100, that's very different
market.
Yeah, it's a different market. I don't know if I've ever been able to find something for like that. Usually it's just they don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I had a bud that we went to Havasu with that we rode in a boat that was just way too stupid fast, and he bought it for so little because it was built in whatever time, and then they bought it from the second owner who got rid of it because they couldn't insure it because they overpowered, so the boat was overpowered what it was rated for, whatever. It was rated for 800 horsepower, and they put 1,000 horsepower, whatever that scenario was. But when it was repowered, it was more than what the boat was rated for, and they said it was uninsurable. And so the resale on the boat became a lot less, and our friends got it. Whether it was irresponsible or irresponsible, that was the scenario that was at play.
If you go out with them, you had to sign a waiver?
Well, this was the Havasu days. There wasn't a whole lot of waivers. We had a few Coors Lights were our waiver.
Yeah, exactly. And that actually holds true with smaller boats, too. I see a lot of times guys will want to repower their boat, and you better make sure you pay attention to the specs that boat is designed for, because if there's more power than what it's designed for, they'll just deny coverage if something happens.
Yeah. And then what about, there's a lot of boats now with triple engines, quadruple engines that go 60 miles an hour, offshore boats.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're right.
Are those insurable?
Yeah, the market's starting to adjust for those types of boats that aren't just designed for going fast and nothing else.
Yeah.
But again, you are limiting your markets by the faster the boat goes. I mean, it looks cool to have four motors across the back.
So if the top speed is 60 miles an hour, you're going to have less market than you would if you had a boat that went 35.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And what about, are you the one that's responsible for letting the insurance know that that your boat is, say my boat is rated to have 500 horsepower, but we put on, 600. We put on triple 200s, and we now have 600 horsepower. Are we the ones responsible for telling the insurance company that the boat has that amount of power?
Yeah.
Meaning, what happens if I get my insurance policy and then push comes to shove? I wasn't truthful, and it turns out that there was a problem.
They just will deny
You're
coverage.
on the hook, yeah.
They'll deny coverage.
Sure.
Insurance companies do everything to deny coverage, and that's an easy one.
Yeah, right? And there are differences between the companies and how they pay, but in essence, insurance companies aren't there to pay claims. They're there to pay claims, but they don't want to pay claims.
Right. Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of companies I know that are outside of the boat, well, even in the boat world, that are very, very good about claims. And if that is something you need to consider when placing your insurance, are these guys going to be there for me when the time comes? I've even seen a couple of carriers who have come up and said, it's not that big a dollar value. Technically, it's not there. We figured out a way to lump it in with this type of coverage and call it there and cover it. That's the kind of company you want by your side, instead of the one that's saying, well, you know what, you did this and you did that. Now, with the scenario we're talking about, more power for them for what the boat's rated, every one of them is going to deny coverage.
That's a straight answer.
So know what you're doing when you put that on. Know what the rating of your hull is when you decide to power up, because you can instantly void your insurance coverage.
Yeah.
That's a good call. I mean, just there could save you. And again, that goes back to the single cheapest policy might be the most expensive one. Saving a couple of bucks a month might cost you a whole lot on the other side.
Yeah, and that's what I like about being an independent agent and having all these different companies. I can get you one that's dirt cheap premium wise and doesn't cover much. Sure. Or I can give you a deluxe one that costs a fortune. Or I can find one that'll suit your needs somewhere in the middle that you can live with, but also make sure that you cover the important things that you want to cover.
Different options.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. All right, well, the phones are packed, Pete. I know everybody's excited to talk to Scott. Why don't we jump in and talk to Edwin? He's called us from San Diego this morning. What's up, Edwin? Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hello.
What's up, Edwin? Good morning.
Morning.
Did you have a question for us this morning?
Yeah, it's what's his favorite brand jig does he use for yo-yoing the lingcods down in Mexico?
Get the secret stuff
here.
It.
Yeah, cool. I like the blue and white 6X Junior.
Okay.
I mean, it's a nice heavy jig.
That's your go-to.
Real unknown, real sleeper jig.
Yeah, it's something
that nobody's familiar with.
It's not one of these things that's like, here's this special jig that I've found and nobody else knows about. I mean, it's just your standard that's been working forever. Also, if you are in shallow enough, those hookup baits, the little plastic ones, we found that those things are working absolutely amazing down there, right there. I mean, but most of that hit is on the sink, so make sure you pay attention when you're dropping it down after you pull that up, because most of those hits are on the sink.
Booger dropped an info bomb on us one time when he was on the show from the San Diego and said, in his opinion, the best new thing he'd ever seen for catching a lingcod, which we've adopted, and I got to say, it gets bit so good, is fishing a relatively heavy flat fall, 160 gram or 200 gram or even a 250 gram flat fall, and pinning a sardine or a mackerel onto one of the two hooks. There's 2 hooks that hang off of that thing. That was a booger tip, and man, that thing gets bit so good. It's kind of like a deeper version of the Hamburg Acer rig for sea bass fishing, but it's that flat and flash and bait and everything else, and man, that's a really, really good way to get a lingcod.
Well, that's interesting because we fish the flat fall a lot too for the lings, but haven't put any bait on it. And like you said, it sounds like the hamburger rig.
Totally.
We used to fish, white sea bass off the kayak in the kelp over there using that kind of rig, and that's a effective way.
It's
of
a good
catching.
tip.
Yeah, I can't claim that one. That was a Captain Ryan Bastian, and we never really talked a whole lot about that beyond that. But man, that works real good.
Yeah. And you can vary the size of your flat fall depending on how deep you're fishing, how much current there is. So you can go 100 to 250 and just pin that sardine on there.
Yeah.
Best part about the 6X Junior, though, if you hook it in the rocks and break it off, it's not so much of a heartbreak.
That's a good call, too. That's what was cool about those old Jax jigs back in the day. We used to fish a lot for rock cod, is they purposefully came with a really crummy hook so that when you hung the thing in the rock and you pulled real hard on 40-pound, you just straighten the hook out and you'd get your lure back, and then you'd grab your duck bills and you'd bend the hook back to the point again, and away you'd go.
Yeah, if I'm fishing a ganyan, just with bait and that kind of thing, I put like a little trout swivel at the bottom. And then you put your weight on there. That way, if it gets hooked up, you just pull that swivel and straighten it out, and then you leave the weight. But at least you get the rest of your rig and tie another weight on it.
All right.
Good tip.
Another tip. Hey, Edwin, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
Well, hey, let's jump right back into them. They're packed. Let's talk to Lonnie. Lonnie also called us from San Diego this morning. Hi, Lonnie. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Hi, Lonnie.
What's up, Lonnie?
Hey, this insurance, I didn't really hear much in the beginning. Does it offer towing? Is that good in Mexico too, around the highlands? Or?
You talking the coverage on the water down in Mexico, around the islands, and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it depends on the carrier. You want to make sure that the carrier offers coverage in Mexican waters. I mean, we found that out when we wrote Pete's insurance the first time. Because we looked at his boat policy, and he had no coverage in Mexico, and you were fishing a lot in Mexico.
Yeah,
I mean, all of us do. We do the islands. We go
if you're living here in San Diego, that's just part of life. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So if you're going to put insurance on the boat and you're going to do those types of trips, you want to make sure that your carrier covers Mexican waters.
And Lonnie said he'd missed the beginning of the show, and I think it's important to note for that is that, because he said, remind me that coverage again. That's the beauty of Snapp Insurance, is you're not a that coverage. You're a whatever coverage is appropriate.
Yeah, we have the luxury of having, dozens and dozens of markets at our disposal that we can shop and decide where the best coverage is for you and what company suits your need, because needs vary. I mean, there are some that just fish local kelp here and don't go into Mexico.
Right.
Well, then that's not a concern for you, but most of us do, and there's nothing worse than getting someplace and thinking you have coverage and finding out you don't.
Yeah.
Do you still have an on-the-water tow service, a vessel assist, a towboat, whatever, that type of thing? Do you still have that in addition to what you do?
A lot
do you
of
have Yamaha, so you're not worried about it? Like, how do you just go, how do you navigate that?
I do vessel assist. I do vessel assist on my boat. Most of your boat policies will cover towing, but that's after the fact.
Okay.
And
you have to pay and then go back to the insurance company.
You have to pay, go back to the insurance, try and recover those types of things. It's not an on-the-water service. There'll be coverage for it, but then do you want that hassle? I'd rather pay the extra money, have the on-the-water coverage, and know that, okay, I've broken down here, I can get somebody to tow me back.
Even though you're duplicating basically what you're already covered for, it's a service.
It's much easier, and there are limits depending on the carrier on what they will pay for towing.
Okay.
Like if you have the
trust me, if
offshore.
if I'm out
tow,
if I'm out, at the hidden and I break down and I got to call vessel assist to come tow me back and I don't have coverage.
That's a very multi-$100 tow.
Oh, that's in the thousands probably.
Okay. Yeah.
So then, well, if I've only got $1,200 worth of towing coverage on my policy, suddenly I'm out the $800 that I didn't get to do. So it's just better to me to spend the extra money.
And the vessel assist policy, again, for a year is a pretty darn relative. For everything else that you spend, it's a pretty darn relatively inexpensive thing to have in your back pocket.
Well, a buddy of mine, I got towed back from the 43 one time by vessel assist.
Wow.
I mean, that was a long, long tow.
And what would that tow be? Thousands of dollars.
We asked the guy. He said it was about $1,200.
$1,200.
Yeah. Instead of, what was it back then? 100 and something a year for vessel assist.
No doubter.
It was a no-brainer to me.
Yeah. So you recommend not only having, even if it's covered on your policy, get the additional
it's usually a throw-in coverage on the policy. It's an additional they put in there to kind of entice you. Right. Yeah, the towing part of it. Yeah. But I wouldn't be on the water without vessel assist.
Same.
Right.
Yeah, or one of the like services.
Same. Even with Yamaha's, knowing that we're not going to have a problem, and you just never know.
Some sort of a towing
hit
service.
Something, you suck up a rope, you don't know what scenario is going to pop up.
And that's what insurance is. It's peace of mind. I feel good that policy is there. I just do.
There's someone you can call when you're having a problem.
It's got the phone number right next to the ignition on the boat. Cool. It's a feel good thing, and that's really what insurance is you can go without insurance and insure yourself and hope you have enough money to coverage. And if you feel good about doing that, go ahead. Now, other than auto, where you're required, in California.
Yeah.
But other than that,
boat, you're not required to have insurance?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. What about liability insurance? You're not allowed?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
Yeah, that's great.
For sure.
How about we jump back in? We're going to talk to John this time. John's calling us from Los Alamitos. What's up, John? Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning, guys. I got two questions, one for Scott and one for maybe Rick. First question is, I'm a rod builder, and as you guys know, rods are expensive with reels. I probably have 10 rods that are worth $10,000, right? And so how much coverage do I need for my shop, and how much would it be for like $25,000 worth of coverage? And then
are you talking for the shop or if those rods are on the boat?
Oh, well, I mean, if I got to get a policy, I'm just thinking of my garage for fire or theft.
Like addition to your homeowner's policy kind of thing?
That's where it would go. It would be an addition to the homeowner's policy. Now, if those are on the boat and the boat sinks, then you want to make sure you've got the proper tackle coverage on your policy for the boat.
On the boat?
On the boat.
And that would be covered under personal property?
It's actually, they have a separate coverage for fishing tackle.
Oh, really?
And I say this all the time, is make sure you know how much your tackle is worth on your boat, because most of those tackle coverages, it's, a few grand.
Pretty minimal, yeah.
Which it can be increased. It comes with a premium, but you can increase it a lot of times with most carriers. And if you really look at the rods and the reels and everything else, I mean, I just look at the fluorocarbon leaders in my tackle box, and there's a couple, $300-400 worth of different leaders, and you look at all the tackle, all the gear, that can add up pretty quick. And usually a $2,500 tackle rider on your boat that's a throw-in add-on to the deal just doesn't cover it.
Doesn't cover it.
Yeah.
What about your homeowner's policy? If the equipment is on the boat, the homeowner's policy will not cover that. It has to be the boat policy.
Most of the time, yes. If it's stolen off of the boat, then chances are your homeowner's policy may cover it.
Oh, no.
Wait a second. So if the boat's sitting,
it's
but
weird.
But what if the boat's in a marina?
If the boat's in a marina, it's stolen, or it's just like having golf clubs stolen out of the trunk of your car.
Yeah.
It usually goes onto your homeowner's policy.
Oh, it does?
But if you're out there and the boat sinks or the boat catches fire and you lose all that gear, then that's going to be on your boat policy.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the tips you've been given for years, is exactly what you just said, is realizing how much you have invested into your gear. And all of us do the same thing, because you pick away at it over a lifetime of acquiring tackle, and Fred Hall show comes around, you buy a new reel, and Day at the Docks comes around, you buy a new rod, and you just don't think about it in a lump sum scenario. And I'll bet every one of us listening to the show, if you went out and you had to buy every single piece of fishing tackle in one shot again, it would just blow your mind how quickly thousands and even tens of thousands of dollars can wrap up real fast, especially if you're talking about a total loss.
Yeah, I mean, it came to my attention to make me really start paying attention to this many years ago when my tackle box was stolen out of my truck. I forgot to lock the door one night, and I came back, tackle box was gone. Okay, well, I have to go replace that, and I didn't worry about the insurance part of it. But I went back, and once you started buying all the tackle and all the gear to replace what you had accumulated, like you say, over decades, suddenly that tackle box, it was probably close to $2,000 to replace everything that was in that tackle box.
Think about your rods and reels, and say the average guy has 6 or 10, outfits. take away the obvious cost, the $300 to $500 reels and the $300 to $500 rods. The Spectra on 6 reels, average between $80 and $150, and the fluorocarbon Top Shot's another. You're a couple $1,000s just in the line, let alone the obvious cost of all that. It just it adds up.
It adds up.
Some binoculars. Put a fancy radio on the boat, whatever that scenario may be.
And that get into your personal property coverage. You got a good pair of binos and stuff on the boat. You want to.
That's not tackle. That's for personal property.
Yeah, and a lot of that gets broken down by whether it's removable and those types of things, whether it goes with the hull or it's personal property, that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Hey, good question. Thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
Again, Sherman, that's the deal. That's exactly why I love having this guy on here. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way, a lot more of your phone calls, more great fishing info. We got Catch Report coming up and more. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090.
It's a fact of life in Southern California. Hard water. And if you have a pool, your tile shows it. Here comes San Diego Pool Tile Cleaning to the rescue. With their specialized equipment, SD Pool Tile Cleaning can safely remove the stubborn calcium deposits most pool owners struggle with. SD Pool Tile Cleaning can make your tile look bright and clean, almost like new again. High-pressure pool maintenance cleaning can damage grout, stone, and dislodge tiles. San Diego Pool Tile Cleaning uses a low-pressure media blasting technique to protect your pool surface from damage and yield fantastic results. So stop making excuses for your stained tiles on your pool. Make them look like new again with San Diego Pool Tile Cleaning. Check their website at sdpooltilecleaning.com and let their professional staff rejuvenate your pool tile. When it comes to professional swimming pool tile cleaning service, there's only one name you can trust: San Diego Pool Tile Cleaning. Check sdpooltilecleaning.com.
Hey, it's time to talk about great stuff from Shimano. And I got to tell you, when we're talking rock fishing...
Oh, man.
What's your favorite outfit?
Well, my favorite outfit is a Trinidad. I'm just going to come right out. It is so smooth. And so, do you need to have a Trinidad for catching rockfish? No, you can fish a Torium and have a fantastic reel at a very budget-minded price. But when you're asking a favorite, it's Trinidad. Nothing is smoother, offers torque at high speed like a Trinidad does.
Yeah, no question about it. When you put Power Pro line on there and you drop in deep and you hook a couple of big ones, you want that power.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man.
And the speed and it's not and because you have the power, because you have the speed, you can faster retrieve, but you can still have that cranking power.
Cranking power is the most important part when it comes to reels like that, and having X-ship like the reels do, better gear life, stronger frames, cold forged machine frames, like those are the things. That's what you're paying for when you buy Shimano.
Yeah, for sure. Shimano Trinidad, get it at your local Shimano dealer.
Many years ago, Baja pioneer Bob Van Wormer found the area he called the Great Fish Trap in the East Cape of southern Baja and built what is now regarded as the premier East Cape resorts of Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Today, following in their father's footsteps, Bob's sons, Bobby, Chucky, and Eddie, have taken Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol to new levels with the largest sport fishing fleet in Mexico, a luxurious spa, and top-of-the-line resort amenities. Van Wormer Resorts have become a destination for travelers worldwide. But for us, Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol are just a short 2-hour flight away. No other tropical fishing destination offers the experience and value that you'll find at Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Now you can plan your Baja fishing vacation quick and easy by visiting VanWormerResorts.com. And when you're ready to book, it's quick and easy. Or simply call 877-777-TUNA for more information. Van Wormer Resorts, the East Cape's finest.
Give your boat the love it deserves and install a custom sea deck kit from Blue Seas Fabrication. Blue Seas is the West Coast's only certified sea deck fabricator and installer. Sea deck upgrades the look and feel of any boat, old or new. Sea deck non-skid decking adds comfort, convenience, safety, and value. Let the experts from Blue Seas Fabrication custom fit your deck, bridge, and interior with stylish, durable, stain-resistant, and easy-to-clean sea deck. Check BlueSeasFabrication.com and enhance your fishing experience.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, man. We're having a great time here this morning, talking fishing, talking questions. Again, text if you want to get through. Some great text rolling through. That's only available via the Let's Talk Hookup app. And we had a great text come through from Cliff in Blossom Valley. Surprised and pleased to hear about the end of the season lobster success. Without naming any of your exact spots other than well-known like the jetty, what general areas in the bay do you like to target? Or are they spread all over? That's Cliff and Blossom Valley.
Yeah, they're kind of spread all over. I have several spots. Most of them are, well, there's a few that are inside the bay. Most of them are out around Point Loma, staying away from the MLPAs and that kind of thing. And it depends on which direction the tide's flowing. You have your outgoing tide spots and your incoming tide spots. And then depth, too, trying different depths. We've had really good success at the beginning of the season fishing shallow water. Mm-hmm. And then as the season went on, the deeper it got, and then it seemed to come back into it towards the shallows towards the end of the season. So, I mean, it's just moving around and looking for the spots and seeing what they do certain times of the year. And the thing I like, I have on the boat, I have the Simrad electronics.
Yeah.
So I have the spots that you can mark, but it also has a notes section.
Oh.
So you can put notes in there and remember, okay, when the tide's flowing out, this is a good spot. What's coming in, this is a good spot.
That's nice. Yeah.
I would say, Cliff, too, there's two ways that you can go about it. You can set up in a good general area and make for very easy retrieval of your hoop nets. I want to hoop in around 20 feet of water, or I'm on the edge of the channel, or I'm along the jetty, and make a nice straight line of all your hoops. And that can be plenty effective, and maybe it's more effective because you can very easily burn through your gear and keep track of everything and go that route. The completely opposite way you can go about it is treat it like you would be fishing for sand bass and putting the hoop net on a particular stone or a particular spot. And when you're drifting for bass in the bay, you can make a nice long drift and cover a good area, and just by virtue of time and distance, you're going to cover some good areas. Or you can specifically hopscotch and target those spots, and both are effective ways of doing it. But if you're a guy that's spot orientated, just like cod fishing, spend more time. Instead of getting down to the water at 7 or 8 o'clock, get down there at 4 or 5 o'clock and spend the first hour slowly mowing the lawn back and forth and finding rocks and wreck and hard bottom, and then putting your hoop net in a spot with purpose, above or below. But the difficulty is now you don't have a nice, perfect, straight line string of your 10 hoop nets, and, regulations now dictate that you have to be within a certain distance of them, and it's harder to keep track of what you pulled and what you didn't. So neither of those are right or wrong, but something to think about for the next season coming up is, put your hoop net down with a purpose rather than just a nice straight line.
And with the crowds in the bay now, you really need to kind of concentrate on one area. It's just
totally.
I mean, because you lose hoops.
Yeah.
People steal.
I've had it happen back on the kayak. And the other thing to find spots I suggest to people is if you fish the bay, pay attention to where your drifts are going. And so many times you find a spot that has a lot of promise. If you come back during lobster season and drop on that spot that looked real promising while you were drifting for bass or halibut,
no doubt,
then you go back to it and suddenly you found a new spot.
Just make sure you stay out of the channel and stay away from the Navy closures.
Yeah, totally.
And quite frankly, the way it's become so popular now, I usually don't even go out until like the third week of the season.
Yeah.
It's just
let the craziness go by.
Let the craziness settle down a little bit, and then you can operate a little easier and a little safer and a little more effective.
Yeah, there you go.
All good tips. Great text. Appreciate it, Cliff. All right, well, let's jump back into the phones, and this time we're going to talk to Ben. Ben's calling us from Golden Hill this morning. Hi, Ben. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, how you guys doing this morning?
What's up, Ben?
Hey, I wanted to say something from last week's show. I have also caught albacore out here. There's not too many people who have. I've talked to a couple people. Like, what's albacore? I have some questions just about, down in Mexico and making sure your equipment's kind of insured and stuff like that. Like, obviously, I have, like, a Baja-bound insurance policy for the year, But what about just, I guess a renter's policy? Will that, you see that, if you don't have a boater's policy if you're on a Ponga, right? So your renter's policy isn't going to cover that, but it'll cover it if it gets stolen, kind of by what I was hearing.
Yeah,
can you talk a bit
you
on
might
that?
have coverage from your renter's policy if it gets stolen, but with down in Mexico, your typical renter's policy may not cover stolen property in Mexico, so you may have an issue there as well. If it's stolen here in the U.S., it's probably not a problem. Stolen in Mexico is a different story.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing about a personal property? Just getting an insurance just on that. If you're in Ben's scenario and you've got a bunch of money with gear, but maybe don't have a homeowner's policy or something like that. Is there such a thing as a policy just for personal equipment?
Not so much just for the
exactly.
Yeah, not so much just for the personal equipment, but a lot of times in your home or your renters, you can do what they call a schedule of property.
Okay.
And then that costs a little more money, but it also expands the type of coverage it lends itself to.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is it just being stolen anymore, now you got coverage if it's lost.
Got it.
Okay. So, but you have to pay.
Sure, you're
for
paying
that.
extra for it, but at least if you're in that scenario that we talked about before, and you've got $20,000 worth of gear, it might be worth paying an extra $100 a year to cover that.
Yeah, it might be worth looking to see if you can get it on a schedule, because then that way, like I said, even if it's lost, it's kind of like people do that with wedding rings all the time on their homeowner's policy.
Yeah,
they put a schedule on it. That way, if it goes down the drain or does whatever, it's still covered.
And even if I'm sure it's got to look at least better when when you're going to make that said insurance claim, that you made a personal schedule, you made a schedule for all that gear. When it looks better than when your just normal homeowner's policy comes up and they say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? You had $20,000 worth of fishing tackle. Who's got that?
Well, and it gets you out of having to prove what happened.
I can see that.
If you have it on that homeowner's policy without a schedule, and sometimes you can schedule, sometimes you can't. But if you have it on there, you've got to have receipts. You've got to show, how much these things cost, what the replacement value is. You got to dictate how it was stolen and all these other things, and have an adjuster. If you're able to schedule it and put it on your homeowners or your renters, then there's really not a whole lot of questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, good questions.
Yeah,
Thanks
great.
a lot
Good
for the call
Ben.
this morning. Vicky in Huntington Beach has another good follow-up question on the same thing. What if you're on a party boat and your insurance for your what if it gets stolen on the party boat or lost on the party boat? What coverage do you have for that?
Yeah, that's going to be tougher being on a party boat and having it stolen, unless it's in that schedule type situation. If it's usually in your car or your boat being stolen out of your own personal thing, your personal insurance will cover it. The only time it usually get coverage for that if it's able to be scheduled.
Not to put you on the spot, because I know that it varies completely. But
Right.
this is the scenario of having Scott on here. Everybody puts you on the spot on things. What is an average cost of somebody wanting to schedule their personal fishing tackle or binoculars or that kind of stuff? Like, are you talking? Is that hundreds of dollars to the policy? Is it
It's all up to the value of what's being
Mm-hmm.
scheduled, and it's from a couple $100 to a few thousand, depending on what it is. I mean, I've seen wedding rings that are big, expensive wedding rings, and they cost quite a bit, $1,200-1,300 a year to schedule it.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on the dollar value.
Totally. But even still, if you're talking a couple of $100 spread out over an entire year, that's, if you really think about it, I mean, you're talking $10 to $20 a month to cover all of your fishing gear. That, again, that's just not that's a little more drop in the bucket.
And the thing with schedules too is there's usually a minimum value per item, so you have to look at what that is as well.
Okay.
They usually don't schedule something that's $20.
Got it.
If it's close to $1,000, then you
has to have some value.
You're talking different.
Understood.
All right.
Okay.
You want to get through 213-432-1090. We're giving away a trip on the Liberty out of Fisherman's Landing, a full day trip when they get up and running here in the middle of April. That'll be great. Hey, also, everybody's probably going, what happened to Catsman this morning? Well, Catsman's traveling today. He'll be calling in his report tomorrow. But in the meantime, his catch report is sponsored by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego. Not only do they offer the best processing for your fish when your trip returns to the San Diego landings, as well as your private boat catch, and they, of course, have that Fish Pros, the market, where you can purchase fresh fish, smoked fish, jerky fish, spices and rubs, and all that stuff is really, they've taken it to the next level, too. And very, very soon they're going to be grand opening that great new location that they have over there near Old Town. So keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you posted here on Let's Talk Hookup for that. In the meantime, order online at Fish fishermansprocessing.com. And I also want to remind you, be sure to check out this week's edition of Western Outdoor News, always loaded with great fishing and hunting and more. This week, some hunting and fishing tips, as well as bluefin catches and, of course, tips on that yellowtail down the Coronado Islands, rockfish fishing, and more. Check it out, this week's edition of Western Outdoor News.
All right. Hey, we're having a great time here this morning. Again, if you want to get through, give us a call, 213-432-1090. Let's jump back into the phones and talk to John from Escondido. Hi, John. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Great, buddy. Good morning.
Hey, man, you guys have been so busy, right? I mean, it's been a listening for me the last few weeks because I just couldn't even get in. If you didn't call right away, you were busy signal all day. So that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
My question for Scott is, if I get a private boat and I want to trailer it down to Mexico, I know if I take my personal vehicle that I have to have special insurance to go down there. Do I have to have the same thing for my boat?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get coverage for your boat with a U.S. carrier on Mexican roads. You just can't. There are companies who do it. I really don't have a lot of availability at our agency to do it. It just
Baja Bound, that kind of thing.
Some of those companies that are set up for it, we're not really set up for it.
The travel companies.
Right.
Yeah,
most of the things that we're set up for is coverage on the water with your boat
here
in Mexican waters. Once you tow that boat across the trailer, it's a Mexican coverage.
So would you cover the car and the boat on one policy, or
that's usually how they do it down there, if I remember right. I haven't done it for a while.
Yeah. All right. But call one of those companies that specializes in Mexican insurance.
Yeah, and that goes to even past Mexico. There's a lot of different things about coverage on when an auto policy and a boat policy will cover you while you're towing your boat. It gets kind of specific.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's another scenario.
Poor Scott. You know what I mean? Like, we just threw everybody it's 2 hours of firing at him.
You tow your boat down to Mexico.
Uh-huh.
You have Mexican auto policy on towing. Then you launch that boat and you're on the water.
Mm-hmm. Then you are on the water. You want your U.S. boat policy to cover it on the water.
Yeah, you need to still make sure that your original U.S. policy covers you as far down
as force and covers you as far as
but what if you're way down? Yeah, what if you're
make sure you're with the right company and you've got the right. And sometimes in those scenarios, if you're towing all the way down to say Cabo or those, there's a couple companies that cover Mexican waters all the way down to the point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 25 miles from shore. But in that situation, when you're towing a boat, a small boat for the roads, you might be fined 25 miles from shore.
Yeah.
Especially if you're Laredo or La Paz or those types of things. You're probably not going to be going out that far looking for fish.
You got to think about all the different scenarios.
Right.
This is it. Like that again. That is the reason, because you don't think about that, but Scott does, or at least researches the one that will find the right one. That's awesome.
Yep.
Appreciate the phone call very much, John. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More of your phone calls. We got catch reports coming up and more. You stay tuned. It is Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090. This is Rock Cod Rick for Adventure in Camping, where they bring the adventure to you. If you enjoy camping in the Eastern Sierra but don't own an RV or a trailer, or simply don't want the hassle, let Adventure in Camping park it for you. It's simple. Check out their website, adventureincamping.com, select from over 75 campgrounds they serve, decide on a trailer floor plan that fits your needs, request a quote for your desired vacation dates, then just show up and start your adventure. Dallas and I did exactly that, and it was incredible. We chose a beautiful Mammoth area campground. Adventure in Camping delivered the trailer to our spot. We showed up, enjoyed a clean, spacious trailer without any of the hassle. When it was time to go home, we just closed the door and drove away. It doesn't get any easier. If you enjoy camping in the Eastern Sierra but don't want the hassle, Adventure in Camping is for you. Check out adventureincamping.com for details. Make sure to mention Rock Cod Rick sent you for a special 20% off offer, but this special won't last long, so go to adventureincamping.com today.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
Rancho Leonero is very family-oriented. People have brought their children down, and now they're bringing their children. It's not unusual to have 3 generations of family at the hotel. Grandpa, Dad, and normally sons, sometimes daughters. The families come back year after year, and it's a safe place for the kids. It's small, it's intimate, right on the water, 2 miles of beachfront. The water's very shallow in front. There's no currents to speak of, no waves. We have childcare, $10 a day for a babysitter. Security is high at Rancho Lanero. It's really unnecessary, but it adds up comfort level. And we really do encourage the families. It's a great place for family reunions, family get-togethers, weddings. We do it all. 1-800-646-2252, 646-BAJA. And RanchoLanero.com. There's nowhere that I can think of to have the same atmosphere and the same experience that you get at Rancho Lanero. We love families.
The state-of-the-art long-range sport fishing vessel, the Independence, delivers the top quality, comfort, and fishability you look for in a long-range boat. Veteran captains Mark Bizzano and Paul Strasser built this incredible 112-foot vessel with the most modern technology and luxurious comfort available. Once you go on the Independence, you'll be back. Call Independence Sports Fishing at 619-226-6006 or check independencesportfishing.com.
Shimano has done it again. An amazing lever drag 2-speed reel at an affordable price. It's Speedmaster 2, the extremely durable high-performance Speedmaster 2 with high maximum drag power and a smooth ultra-wide range of drag adjustability is an absolute fish-fighting machine. Its rigid Hagani body prevents misalignment of moving parts under the heaviest loads. Plus, a spare drag cam is included for optimal use with monofilament lines. The Speedmaster is now available in 4 models, 12, 16, 20, and 25. This is the perfect reel for the angler looking for a powerful, lightweight, smooth casting reel for tuna or other powerful saltwater game fish at a more affordable price. Nothing in its class can match the Shimano Speedmaster 2, built to provide high-end performance and dependability in a compact, lightweight frame. Get the Shimano Speedmaster 2 lever drag reel at your local Shimano dealer. Check Shimano.com for all the details.
Your San Diego County Ford dealer knows that vehicles are not one size fits all, and they have a variety to choose from to suit your individual wants and needs. Looking for a truck to handle both work and play? The legendary F-150 has you covered with its military-grade aluminum alloy body and high-strength steel frame and smart technology, like the available Pro Trailer Backup Assist to help you back up your boat with the turn of a dial. Or do you need a vehicle that's ready for your next adventure? The Ford Ranger is standing by, so grab your gear and let's go. This adventure-ready truck has an available terrain management system that has 4 selectable drive modes depending on what terrain you're on for optimum performance. Is an SUV more your speed? No problem. Your San Diego County Ford dealers have those too. The 2020 Ford Explorer has been completely redesigned inside and out and has available 3rd-row power-fold seats to easily accommodate more passengers or cargo and available twin-panel moonroof to let the outdoors in. Visit buyfordnow.com to learn more or visit your nearest San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.